Welcome to Focus on Why. I'm Amy Rowlandson, your host. Join me to explore the compelling stories, profound insights, and captivating experiences shared by my guests from all over the world. Focusing on the importance of why, these relatable, uplifting, and inspiring conversations will empower, motivate, and guide you to create your own purposeful way of life. Have a purpose, have a plan, focus on why. Do you truly understand the power of a focus on why in business? Are your employees fully engaged? Do they consider their work meaningful? Or does your organisation have purpose gaps? Focusing on key areas of employee engagement, contribution, fulfilment, well-being and purpose, all of which have proven links to increased productivity and profitability, I deliver inspiring, mesmerising and captivating talks and workshops providing clear, actionable steps to take. To discuss your specific business needs, reach out to me via the link in the show notes and together we can plug those purpose gaps. Today on Focus on Why, I am joined by Tracy Irwin. Hello and welcome.
Hi, Amy. Nice to be here. How are you?
And where is here for you?
Oh, so here is in Alicante in Spain. I've been in the UK for a business event the last couple of days and I flew home yesterday and back to the office today.
Amazing. And how long have you been there?
So I will have been in Spain for 8 years in December. So
Wow, that's so cool.
definitely
I'm
settled now.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll get to as to why you've ended up where you are at some point. But let's kick the conversation off with what is it you're focusing on at the moment?
Okay, so I've recently semi-retired, so I'm kind of looking at the last end of this year as a reset. I have been a business owner for 22 years, so it'll be nearly 23, and I think it's just time for a reset. I want all the things that I've learned over the last 2 decades to help other people. So that's my aim. I want to help other people to find their happy. Now, I understand not everyone's happy is running away to Spain with 2 suitcases, but everyone has a happy. And I find that a lot of successful business owners look like they should be ecstatic. From the outside, and this is where I was, people, you look from the outside, you look like you've got everything and that you should be really happy with everything you've got. But quite a lot of people, the inside, they're not happy. They usually, quite often they've built a monster that has overtaken them. So they're actually effectively working for their business rather than the other way around. And that's what I help people to unpick. So I help people unpick why they're unhappy and help them find their happy.
That is incredible. And before we dive into that a little bit more, I just want to catch the sentence that you said, where you said you ran away to Spain with 2 suitcases. And I want to say, what was it? I want to ask, what was it you were running away from and what were you running towards?
So I was that typical entrepreneur, the person who went into the office first in the morning, left the office last. And at the end of 2015, my granddad got cancer and he passed. Now, it wasn't a tragedy. He was 94 years old. He had an amazing life. And towards the end of his life, he was in a hospice. And what I'd found myself doing was I was going to work really early in the morning and then I was staying late so that I could just go straight to the hospice at visiting time. And then I was going home, having my tea, going to bed and getting up and doing the whole thing over and over again. And then when he passed, and I remember this, by the way, I remember this so clearly. It was like it was only like a year ago, if that. And I remember sat in my office thinking, oh, shit, I have to go home. And I didn't want to go home. What I'd done is I'd created this safe space at work because my home life was unhappy. And I'd only been married for a short time in retrospect of what it was. And I think the embarrassment of feeling like a failure, because I've been so successful in business that suddenly to think that I was being a failure in my home life was really hard. So within a year, I had processed the business and I'd got a divorce. And with 2 suitcases, I moved to Spain. Some people would say it was an epiphany. Others would say maybe it was a midlife crisis, but I'm going with the first one because it's been amazing.
And you say some people would say it's an epiphany and others would call it. You said you're going to call it an epiphany, not a midlife crisis. I call that a midlife beginning.
Yeah, it's definitely been one of those. Definitely. My whole life is different for the better now.
So 8 years ago, you made that decision and came over to where you are now. And what's next?
That's it. I enjoy helping other businesses to unpick their happy and to grow. So I say I help businesses get more profit or more time out of their business. But 2015 feels like a new chapter for me. Sorry, 2025 even feels like a new chapter in my life for me. And I wish I had an answer for you, but I actually don't. And it's really exciting to think that I can do anything. I have got a few clients that I still help now, but there is definitely room. And I say semi-retiring because I can never see me stopping. So I would like to find something else, but I don't actually know what that is yet. And I won't know that until next year.
And where do you believe that this answer will come from? Do you have any inkling at all?
Every time I do my values, there's always one however much other things have changed, there's always one that stays in the top three, and that is helping others. Like, I enjoy helping other people in different guises, and it will definitely continue to be some kind of service. I can't see any other avenue for me. I do value my time a lot. I thought about doing courses to make my expertise more accessible to more people. But as I say, I think I'm waiting till I go on holiday to take that time whilst I'm away, because I know that when I'm on a walk or when I'm on holiday, they're the kind of times that my brain gets to think a lot more than it does when I'm in the office thinking about other people.
Absolutely. You need the space, and that time for a reset seems like a well due, maybe overdue time in terms of how much you've been involved in your work over the recent years. Unpick that happy as a phrase. What was it about that works for you and for your clients?
Um, I think a lot of people don't look ahead. They don't look what they want their life to look like. They just find themselves in following something. And I was going to move closer to my daughter, because my daughter's a sister at Manchester Royal Infirmary, and so as she'd moved away, I was thinking I could do that. And so I'd started working from home to make the office run without me. There was lots of things that were in the process. And when I realised that I was thinking about actually moving away, suddenly I was like, well, does it have to be 2 hours drive? It could be anywhere. And me and my friend came on holiday to this area, and we met some people who lived here already. And it was talking to them that I was like, actually, maybe this is my happy. Like, I still work. I don't sit by a pool and drink cocktails all day. I don't drink cocktails at all, by the way, and neither do I sunbathe. But I think the picture sometimes people assume is that's what it is, but it isn't. It's being able to walk the dogs without a cardigan on in November. It's the slow lifestyle. I love coming to London to see clients. I absolutely love it. But if I'm there for too long, I feel the stresses of UK life, of how quick everyone walks, how quick everyone, how focused they seem to be to get to the next place because they're so busy. And I don't think that's the life for me. I like the slot. I still work really, really hard, but it's the actual slowness of Spain, I think, that's like, and the weather.
And the weather does affect us. I mean, I was talking to someone recently about the seasons and how we are cyclical in our ways, and they do help us to navigate and also demarcate how a year is spent, right?
Yeah.
Now, where you are, where there's probably not such a marked difference between the seasons, does that make a difference in your lifestyle and the fact that you probably haven't had a natural pause to reset over a winter, perhaps?
I agree. I think that is true. I holiday less since I've been in Spain. We do have holidays, but when we go to Cambodia soon, this is the first big holiday I've had, and it's because I'm having a big birthday, so it's kind of forced a bit upon me. But normally we just go city breaks and like that. They're not relaxing holidays, but I've got a beach outside my window. It's like literally have a beach view outside my window. So I tend to not have that reset as much as I did when I was in the UK. But then neither do I get those sad times when I really struggle because it's cold, because it never gets to less than 10 degrees here. So.
All right, all right. There's no need to rub it in. I'm not
Sorry.
shivering away at all here. Well, firstly, congratulations on the big birthday that's coming
Thank
up.
you.
I know that we are very similar in age, albeit
Yeah.
2 days apart. So
2
we're both
days
celebrating.
apart.
Yeah, so big birthdays for both of us. Very exciting. That chapter of life, this next phase that you're transitioning into, comes with natural sort of questions of what is next. And I know we've just spoken about that you're relaxed about being open and letting it unfold. But what does semi-retired really mean? And what would you like to achieve in these next transition that you're going into?
I think for me, it's working with who you want to work with, when you want to work with, and how you want to work. So when you own a big business, like when I owned the accountancy, you know, not everything that you do is everything that you want to do. And looking back on the 2 decades, there is a lot of things I'd have done differently with hindsight. And I think that kind of process in my head with all the stuff that I know that I didn't like when it happened, or the stuff that I don't like doing, I'm ready for that this time. I'm prepared. I know what I'm good at and I know what I'm not good at. So whatever I do in the future will be on my terms. And it's knowing that you don't, I think, so when I started my business back in 2002, I was a single parent to an 8-year-old. My why was that roof over our head. Like literally it was to pay my mortgage. Like that in my mind, was my biggest why. I don't have that anymore. Like I don't have the financial why, because I already have everything I need. So I have to find another why, because that went years ago, by the way. It's not driven me my entire career. In fact, it went from my mortgage to my employees' mortgages, by the way. So like as the business grew and I was getting employees, my main thing was it's their roofs over their head. I've got to bring in clients to keep them in employment so that they have a house. And one of the things I'm really, really proud of is the fact that in 20 years, 8 people that worked for me actually became homeowners. And it's not something that people really talk about. But it's one of the things I'm really proud of, that I facilitated something that made them able to buy their own home. And I think it's something a lot of people would dismiss it, but for me, and I think it was because as a single parent, buying my own home was such a big thing for me. And I think that I kind of pushed that that was my why.
And absolutely. I mean, the why for me, the way I describe it is that the why is the emotional significance that you assign to your purpose. And your purpose is the overarching intention that guides your direction in life. So it
Yeah.
really is as simple as that. And it's whatever you choose it to be. And so you're right. I mean, your why was driven by that emotional significance of being a single parent and looking after your daughter. And now with that difference and where you are in your life and what the difference is between that overarching intention of your purpose and the emotional significance that is driving the motivating why to help others. What is it that really matters now to you, Tracy?
Um, the flexibility. So that for me, whatever I do next will have to have the flexibility. I tell people all the time, I am definitely unemployable. It's not that it isn't because I can't do as I'm told, because I certainly can. I'm really good at taking instruction. And in my personal life, I actually want other people to make decisions for me because I'm sick and tired of making them as a business owner. But I like to be able to choose my day. Like, one of the other reasons that I actually started my own business was because I wanted to be in charge of my own diary. And I think a lot of other entrepreneurs have that reason too. But yet we build a business that suddenly our diary is not our own anymore. And I think that's going to be important to me because I already did that once back in 2016. I realized my diary wasn't my own and I created it so that I made it so that it was. And I'm not going to go back to that. So I think that's important. And just to be helpful. I just want I just want to be able to help people with the expertise I've got and experience of making all those mistakes I've made over the last 20 years so that I can help people not make them too.
So I'm hearing here, you mentioned that when you were recently redoing your values, that helping others is always in your top three. And I'm hearing now that flexibility is probably number one.
It
So
is now, yeah.
what is the other one that we have? And or even how many do you have? Is it
My top three are time freedom, helping other people, and honesty. I find
mm,
honesty, integrity a little bit too similar, and I can't sometimes differentiate between the two. Um, I am honest to a fault sometimes. I've been told I'm too honest, but I never do it out of malice. It's always to help the other person. And if it helps the other person, that's why I'm honest. I can't not be. If they ask a question, then they deserve my honesty.
yeah?
So yeah, it's
They're your
honesty.
three. Are there any others at all that float around?
Um I can't think of what the other ones are right now. Discipline is one of them. I'm very disciplined. I'm very routined. And it did mean a lot to me when Elaine was growing up. Not too much now. And yeah, it's more things like you know, working with others. I'm quite and I like my own company. But when you work with yourself on your own for too long, you're not getting the influence of other people. So I like to work with other people because I like their influence into what I'm doing so that I'm not too single-minded on because my own things. I enjoy feedback.
Tell me more about time freedom.
Okay, so time freedom isn't so I've got when I speak at events, I have a pie chart because most people think that it means that the working section of the pie is smaller than the spending time with your family, and it isn't about that. It's about setting foundations in your business so that you can choose what you do. And there's a few foundations. One of them is the finance numbers. Obviously, I'm an accountant. It means everything to me. But without knowing your numbers in your business, you can't grow. And then you've got your team culture. If your team culture is wrong, in your business and it grows, you will not keep hold of your business for very long. It will become something that you don't want it to be. Then you've got your target market, your ideal client. So understanding that so you can actually work with the people who you want to work with, the right people, there's that. And then there is your customer journey so that everyone is on the same page. So that's where your systems and processes come into place. It's all very boring, I know, but it's very, very important. And once you have those foundations in place, then that's when you can start to automate your business. Like when people come to me quite often, they think they're just going to automate their business, but it is the answer, but you have to have the foundations in place first, because if you don't, and I've been there, by the way, so I am speaking from experience when I say this, those foundations aren't all there when you grow a business. Your cracks grow with you. In fact, they grow quicker than you do. So that's what time freedom is about. It's the automation after the foundation so that your business runs in a way that you choose your day.
And it's interesting because when you were speaking earlier and you just said that you're four, maybe five, if I include one other, time freedom, helping others, honesty, discipline, and you said working with others. So maybe that's collaboration, but yeah. So somebody who's listening might think discipline and freedom don't necessarily work together. They seem like they're opposites. However, I'm hearing the total opposite, that they are both actually, one is required for the other and vice versa.
100%.
So yeah, they're not going to be in conflict with one another there. And this is the thing about having that discipline, that responsibility, that understanding, that routine actually allows you to have freedom and flexibility, ironically, right?
It does. Yeah, 100%. Because few people get that. That's really good, because it is about that. It's about being disciplined in your day-to-day life so that your freedom comes, the flexibility is there. Because people who are undisciplined and let things happen to them, then they're not in charge of their own time. And it just becomes overwhelming and all consuming because things are thrown at you rather than you doing them in a way that gives you the flexibility and usually the time. So like when you're more disciplined, you do find you have more time because you're in chunks. Like we have date day in our diary. I even sent it to my partner as an actual event so that it pings in on a Saturday morning. We walk the dogs, we go out for breakfast, and we make time for each other. And it means that, you get to do the things that you want to do by having that discipline. So everything's in my diary, everything, because that way nothing else gets in the way. And I have that flexibility and time freedom to do what I want.
I love that. And having a date day as an opportunity to have that one-to-one time. I remember reading, I think it was a Compound Effect by Darren Hardy, and it was recommending that you have Sunday evening catch-ups with your partner to say what went well, what could be improved, what is it that, wasn't working with each other or with the family dynamic. And at the time when the kids were younger, that was a really useful thing to have. Slightly different from date day, because this is a more of a let's align ourselves again. And it's something that, as I'm hearing here, unless you have a plan and an idea of where you're going, how will you even know where you're heading? How will you know that you're achieving what you want?
I say that all the time. So I liken goals and targets, especially financial ones, to driving a car. Like if you get in a car and you start to drive, you're going to end up somewhere, but you just don't know where you're going to end up. Whereas if you have a sat nav and you put in a destination, there might be traffic in the way, but you will get to where you want to go. And without that sat nav, you've got no chance. You could end up anywhere. And you don't get me wrong, some people end up in the right place. They do, they really do. I'm not saying that's for everybody. But with the goals and targets, your certainty is to get there. And that is what, having the financial part of the business set up correctly, with scorecards and understanding your marketing numbers and things like that, that is what your GPS is.
Now we've spoken a lot about business angle of purpose here. It's dipped into, you know, who you are a little bit, and obviously you've brought these values to the table, which are very much centered around business. How does the life side of that pie fit in with everything for you?
I'm a really quiet person outside of, which people are shocked at, by the way. People say to me all the time, but you're really confident. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm friendly. I'm not a confident person. If somebody makes a conversation with me, I will honor that and respect that person enough to give it back. But you won't find me making a conversation. So, like, me and my friend travel a lot separately. Now, on her travels, she talks to everybody she meets. And she's like, when she gets to me, because she comes to visit me, she'll tell me who she spoke to and what they were and everything. And then I do the other way. I travel back to the UK. I don't speak to us all. I don't. So I'm quite an inward person privately, knowing I have to be an outward person business, because people buy people. So that's where the honesty comes in, I think. I think knowing that I have to be open and honest as a business person, but that allows me to be, because I only share what I want to share. You know, I share business mistakes, but I share a lot about my grandkids. I share a lot about the dogs, you know, things that people really want to hear anyway. And but yeah, privately, I'm never more happy either walking the dogs or sat crocheting, if I'm totally honest.
I'm curious to understand how you've layered that as being very comfortable in your own space and being more of a person who likes being alone, with saying that that means you're not confident.
When I first started my business, I really struggled at networking events. I was that person at the edge of the wall. Like, we didn't have mobile phones back in 22. We did, but we did not in the same guise that they are now. And, you know, you would never get your mobile phone out. Where you see people now in a business environment, their comfort zone is by going on their phone and scrolling on Facebook. And that was me. Like, the first ever 60 seconds I ever did, I actually I'd practiced at home. It was 60 seconds long normally, but I stood up, did it in 30 seconds and sat back down, like literally did not draw a breath. And I'm not confident walking into places on my own. Never have, or making initial conversations. But what I will do, because I learned it to be helpful for me as well, now, if I go into a networking event, I will look around the edge of the room and I will look for that person that looks like they want the wallpaper to hide them, and I just go up and introduce myself. But it still takes me that gulp of, like, you know, braveness to do that. And I think it's the fear of rejection. I can't think of what else it could be, because I can walk on stage and talk to a group of people, but walking up to one person to actually be open with that person is harder.
Well, there is a strange irony here, because this is how we met. We met at a
We
networking
did.
event, and you were, I remember, standing at one of those sort of cocktail tables, again, not with a cocktail, but with just water and a small plate of some beige food. Shall I
Very
describe it as?
beige food.
And that's what we spoke about, right? And
Was.
yeah, so I hear you, and it is that feeling of walking in a room. It's not always easy, and I don't think even people who have more confidence find it naturally easy, because there is that, oh, this is everybody seems to know one another already moment, you know. I've just walked in and I seem to be the only person here and everyone else knows someone.
It was. And I like, so that book event in London was like, I'd flown over, like I was going to see a client as well, but I'd flown over the day before so that I could go to that event, and like walking in there was so hard for me. I was like, I have to do this. I have to do it. And everyone was so friendly when you get there. But that initial anxiety that you get walking in is like, is anyone going to talk to me? Am I going to stand there on my own? So it is, I think people, but we kind of have to get over that, don't we? And like make conversation. And I think that's what people see. But it's just practice. It's just getting out your comfort zone. And yeah, practice it. It doesn't come naturally to everybody.
Well, I'm very glad that we had the conversation and that we're
Me
here
too.
now talking about all things purposeful and happiness and freedom and choice and helping others, serving. You're going into this time for reset, this next phase, this transition, and it's going to be a case of something will happen on a walk somewhere, likely to probably be on a beach because you've got the lovely waves crashing in the background, and there'll be this other moment, this epiphany, the next midlife crisis slash midlife beginning.
Yes.
And yeah, I'm excited for you, Tracy.
Thank you. I'm excited for me too. I've worked really, really hard to get to this point, to enjoy what's coming next. And yeah, I mean, being in Spain, by the way, and when you tell people what you do, quite often you get told, "Oh, you're really lucky to be doing that." And I'm like, I've worked really hard to be this lucky. Thank you. But people see what they want to see. They see the immediate thing, like that whole iceberg thing of what they see on the top compared to what's in the bottom. So yeah, I'm really excited about my next chapter. Chapter 3. Never thought I'd have a chapter 3.
Well, you say that, you've got a book.
I
You've
know.
you've got loads of chapters. No,
Yes.
I'm being flippant, but yes, chapter 3, and it is about, you get to write it, you get to craft it, you get to create it. This is what you're able to do with moving through life as you evolve. Your purpose and your why evolves with you, and as you say, absolutely, those core values will be involved in some way. That, you know, there's no doubt about it, because you're clear. You know what is driving you from that intrinsic motivation perspective.
Definitely. I think as we get older, we understand ourselves a lot better. When I did my coaching degree back in 2023, I learned a lot about myself from doing a coaching degree, and it was one of the biggest takes from doing that I didn't expect to have. I expected it to help me to help others. It didn't. It helped me help myself. I always said for years, I'm one of the most unjudgmental people that you will ever meet. And during the coaching degree, there was points where I was like, oh, I can be judgmental. Like, it was like, literally, I was like, oh, but actually now I can pinpoint that. And now I'm even aware of even becoming that, and it's gone. Like, literally. So I learned a lot about myself in that as well. So I'm very self-aware. And I love that because I wished I was 20 years ago.
Oh, we can't do regret. There's not enough time for us to do that. But I hear you. If I'd known the tools, and you spoke right at the beginning about making your expertise more accessible, and so as part of your values, I hear that, you know, wisdom and, you know, in terms of experience is of value to you because you want to impart that to others.
I do. I want to leave a legacy. I want other people to be able to feel like how I feel now. I want to leave a legacy that is beyond me, so that other people pass it to other people. And yeah, I just want others to be happy. Choose
Yeah,
happy.
choose happy. Tracy, how could people choose to reach out to you? What's the best way to do that?
So to get me personally, probably is LinkedIn. So that's Tracy Irwin on LinkedIn. The website is tracyirwin.co.uk. But I'm also on Facebook and Instagram, but I do tend to hang around LinkedIn. I like the business people on LinkedIn. So yeah, easiest way to get me.
Brilliant. Well, all those links are in the show notes. So if you want to reach out to Tracy and talk more about her chapter 3 or her legacy that she is looking to live and leave behind her. So she's living it out at the moment, which is incredible. Please reach out to Tracy. Tracy, thank you. Do you have some final words for the listener, please?
If I could give somebody who's starting their journey one bit of advice, I would tell them that when they first get into the office, and what they do is not to turn their emails on, but to do just 60 minutes, 90 minutes of working on their business before they start their day. Many people go to the gym before they start their day because it's the best time to do that. For me and for other business owners, if we can work on our business before we start our day of working in our business, it will grow much quicker because there's the focus time. You've got more willpower in the morning as well because you've had a good night's sleep. And that way, then, yeah, they will definitely help you too. And that's it. Just a one piece of advice I can give somebody.
What value have you gained from tuning into Focus on Why today? What are your reflections with actions? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please leave a review on Apple Podcasts or via LinkedIn and share how Focus on Why has made a difference to you. Your feedback not only will inspire others, but will help them to discover how Focus on Why has created powerful ripple effects. Let's continue the conversation. Connect with me on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook or X, join the Focus on Why Facebook group and sign up for my weekly newsletter, Friday Focus, to keep in touch. All the links are in the show notes. Have a purpose, have a plan, focus on why.